when we're all done, this is going to be saved, and along with the slides, I will send the recording and the slides to you afterwards. It'll take a couple days because we need to get things uploaded to our YouTube channel. But this will all be sent to you, so don't worry. It's a lot of information, but we will get that information to you. So welcome, and let's see, where am I? I'm always thrown off by Zoom. I have the agenda first. Maybe I should have had my introduction slide first. So I'll just go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Lydia Raya, and I am Assistant Director for Advising in the EECS department. So we have the two majors, EECS and Computer Science. Right now, today, this is for new transfer students for the Computer Science major. So if you happen to be an EECS student and you're joining today, you don't want to listen because it's not... there's going to get some, confusing information. So you want to go to your EECS presentation, but I think that we're all computer science today. I'm going to we have a couple of other advisors joining us today. So I'll let Carol and Javier introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Carol. Welcome. Looking forward to meeting y'all in person in the fall, and enjoy the rest of your summer too.
Hi, everyone. I'm Javier Garcia. I'm one of the CS advisors.
Thank you. And we also have a couple college advisors joining us today from CDSS. Do you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Chris Malarkey. I'm one of the college advisors in CDSS. And up next on the agenda, you're going to see the distinction of when you come to talk with us at the college and when you talk with your major advisors. Super happy to see everybody here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrea Flores. I am one of the college advisors for CDSS, and I'm really happy. I was also a previous transfer student at Cal, so have lots of love for transfer students.
Thank you so much. I kind of put you on the spot there. Thanks for introducing yourself. Okay, so yes, we're so excited to meet with you today and go over lots of information and then finally meet you in person in the fall. But this is what we're going to talk about today, so meeting all of us. And as Chris mentioned, we're going to kind of go over, what's the difference between major and college advising, because at community college where you transferred from, maybe you were used to going to one person for everything. And at Berkeley, it's more split up into many different units and offices. Then we're going to talk about some resources to help you get connected on campus right away. Major requirements. Finally, probably what all of you are super excited to go over, classes for the first 2 semesters for the first year. Just a few grading policies. And then we'll just wrap up and go over some questions before Berkeley Career Engagement, which is our career center on campus. They're going to be joining us at 11, and they're going to go over a short presentation so you can ask them questions as well, because we want to get you connected with resources as fast as possible because it goes very quickly as a transfer student. And I'm going to stop for questions a couple times throughout. So feel free to, that's a good time to put questions either in the chat or, if you want to unmute yourself. And we do have, Carol and Javier responding to chat questions too, but yeah, try to, to save questions for those times. And we do have college advisors here. We want to keep it more focused to major questions because you'll have another info session like this with your college advisors this week. If there's anything super quick and pressing, they are here for support as well. So this is us in EECS or computer science. We're called Center for Student Affairs. And that's some of the folks that you just met today. This is where we sit. On the left-hand side is the green building, that's Soda Hall. And on the other side of the street is Corey Hall. So Soda is more of the computer science building. Corey is more electrical engineering. And there are a lot of us on the team. It's not just the 3 CS advisors who are here today. There are about 6 or so. And so the fastest way to get a hold of us is by emailing this email alias here, the CS-advising@cs.berkeley.edu. So If you have a quick question, you can always send us an email, and we're pretty good about getting back to you, sometimes even in the same day. So I would encourage you to reach out to us that way. On our website, this is a great landing page to start, because it's going to get you to lots of different information. And then from there, you know, you can navigate around the website. Again, don't worry about memorizing this information. I will send you the slides and the recording after we're done. And this is our bigger advising team. So Antoine Davis is our director of advising, and I'm assistant director. Again, I'm Lydia, and then you met Carol and Carol and Javier earlier. We also have Charlene Duncan. She's the director of our Computer Science Scholars Program, and I have a slide on that later. Then we also have Grayson, Gina, and Kate. So it's a really great advising team. We're all here to support you and can't wait to meet with you. And then again, I have that email alias copied here so that you know again how to reach us. And then I've included a link here for our EdSTEM page. EdSTEM is like an online forum, and this is a great way if you want to post questions to your peers and see how they, you know, get kind of a general consensus of what do they think about this class combination or something like that. It's also a resource that we use as the department to post announcements and deadlines. You'll also have an EdSTEM page along with many of your classes. So it's a way to communicate with the faculty and the TAs. So this is kind of going over what is the difference between my advisors here. So some simple ways to think about this. Sorry, I have to move this away. So for computer science, we're also called CS Advising, your undergraduate major advisors, UMAs. At the college level, they're called college advisors or CDSS advisor. Where are we? We just went over that. We're in 349 Soda and 205 Corey. Over the summer, we're going to be meeting virtually. So you can definitely meet with us and drop in that way over the summer. And then the CDSS advisors are located in 130 Warren Hall. They'll also be meeting with students virtually over the summer. And what can you come talk to us about? Anything for computer science, anything related to your major or to computer science. Whereas you would go to a college advisor for some sort of like bigger policy things that affect your college. So I get Z? Am I done with my general education? Or I want to take a reduced course load. So that means less than 12 units this semester. How do I do that? So those would be more college questions. And then how do you meet with us? So I included links for both of the advising websites here. And again, over the summer, it's going to be drop-in only. In the falls when we're going to start appointments back up. And then just some more specifics, you know, on like what you could ask us for computer science, anything related to our classes. So, you know, should I take this class or this? How do they pair well together, these two CS courses? Or how do I get involved in undergraduate research? What about an internship? How do I get an internship? So that would be more a major advisor question. But say you have a question about your breadth classes or how many units am I supposed to take in a semester? Do I need American cultures? What is that? Withdrawing, readmission, all of those are going to be more college advising questions. And then just when you have a question, you need somebody to talk to, you don't know where do I begin? I'm so overwhelmed. Just come to anyone and we can direct you. If we don't know the right answer, we'll at least get you where you need to go. So as a reminder, the both advising teams will be available for the summer only virtually for drop-in. So we're going to be doing Tuesday, Thursday. The computer science team will be Tuesday, Thursday, 1:30 to 3:30, and then Wednesdays 10 to 12 and 1:30 to 3:30. So I have a link here for how you find the Zoom link. This week and other holiday weeks, we'll have some limited hours. So because of the Juneteenth holiday tomorrow, we will only be available for drop-in advising on Thursday of this week. But I know some of you booked your appointments with me that I sent to you via email. So that's great. So we can have those. And then once we're back to a regular schedule in the fall, you can do either in-person or virtual drop-in, or you can make virtual appointments, and our appointments are available via Cal Central. So that's something you'll get familiar with. And again, I'm going to keep pushing this email alias. So because we can get back to you really quickly if you reach out to us that way, and we're available, you know, during normal business hours, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So this is just a little more detail on how do I book an appointment. So save this slide for later because right now we're not doing appointments, but you can come back and refer to the instructions. The instructions are a little misleading because, as hopefully everyone knows, CDSS is a brand new college, and so we're still figuring out details literally daily. So the instructions don't have a CDSS example yet, but you can, you know, instead of LNS, you would choose CDSS and then follow the booking instructions from there. And then how do I meet with a college advisor? So one thing to note is, oh, it's not this week, but Thursday, June 27th from 1 to 2 p.m. is when you're going to have your virtual info session with them. So you can find out more information when you go on to B courses. So that's going to be one way you can meet with college advisors. And then once you get to the quiz portion of GBA for CDSS and you take the quiz, then you can start meeting with them via drop-in. Similarly, they're going to start appointments in the fall. And then they have a brand new website. So details are being added all the time, but that will get you at least to the advising page to have some information there. Similarly, the college advising team has an EdSTEM page, so you can submit this form first and then you'll be added. Okay, so now some more like campus resources. The Transfer Student Center is great. That's actually where Andrea is coming from. They have just tons of resources. I couldn't even go over all of them because they have so many. So, but it's also a really nice physical space to go and meet other transfers from all over campus. So I would really encourage you to check them out. Fung Fellowship has a program for transfers, so you can attend their info session on July 9th to learn more about that. I do know CS transfers who have done this. And then also there's a 1-unit CDSS transfer transition seminar that's going to be offered this fall. They haven't listed the actual class on the schedule yet, but I did get the course description here. So you can kind of read this later and consider if you want to add, it's, you know, a 1-unit pass not pass seminar, but you're going to be in the class with other CDSS transfers and can be a really nice kind of bonding experience where you can, you know, reflect on what's going on in your other classes and get introduced to campus as a whole. Maybe you attended something like this at your school prior to transferring. If we have any student parents, today I wanted to include some resources for you. So we also have a student parent center. It's actually in the same location as the transfer center. So that is a great place to get to know and visit. There's also various options for childcare on campus and some summer camps as well. So this is our CS Scholars program, and you can definitely reach out to Charlene for more information. And so CS Scholars is a cohorted program. Students are grouped in while they take CS61A, CS61B, CS70, which are like prerequisites to the major. At least we used to call them prerequisites, but that's, you know, you're admitted directly to the major. So they're not prerequisites for you, but they're really, you know, they're tough classes, even if you have some prior experience. So it's, you know, a learning community where you can be grouped together and get extra. I think you have an extra seminar where there are guest speakers. Last semester, they took a trip to Microsoft. There's, you know, some nice perks about the program. The deadline is this Friday, so you want to put in your application if you're interested. Charlene did say, you know, to accommodate new transfers, she could be a little flexible on the deadline too. But reach out to her if you have questions. And then, yeah, if anybody is on Facebook, we do have a CS Facebook page. I checked it out this week. It looks like maybe it's mostly for announcements, but could still be helpful. And then there is a general UC Berkeley course advice page where, you want to say like, oh, which American cultures class should I take? That's a great place to post that. Last year, we had some transfer students do a student project. They took CS 195, which is a requirement for the EECS side. So it's not a requirement for CS, but it's still a super interesting class. It's ethics. And then so they made a podcast as part of their project. So if anybody wants to hear some, transfer perspectives on tech culture, I included that there. Okay, I just said a whole lot. So if anybody has questions about what we just went over, now would be a good time to answer. We're going to do get into enrollment and stuff pretty soon.
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
So I scheduled an appointment with Lydia for Monday.
Great. That's me.
Oh, so I have a question related to that. So do we actually are going to talk during like the appointment, or to just have appointments during Tuesday and Thursday? I didn't get that.
Yes, so for new transfers, I like to offer individual appointments for you. So we also have the drop-in option. You can do drop-in and then you could meet with any of the advisors, or you can have one of those appointments that I sent and we can go over, either your schedule questions or whatever questions you have. So, and you can also come to both, if you want to come to drop-in advising this Thursday and get your questions answered sooner than Monday, feel free. But then if it's over the weekend and you say, oh, I forgot to ask something else came up, come to our appointment on Monday and we can talk then as well. Or if you want to cancel,
Okay.
that's also fine.
Sounds great. All right. Thank you so much.
Sure, you're welcome.
Hi, Lydia. Yeah, I had a question as well regarding the drop-in appointments that we have on Thursday.
Mhm.
How long are those appointments and are they one-on-one?
Yeah, so what you'll do is you'll sign into Zoom and the advisors just kind of grab you and put you in one of our Zoom rooms. So they are one-on-one. You might just first be in the waiting room for a couple minutes. So those are one-on-one, and there's not really a time limit. It is drop-in. So if it's something very complicated, I'm going through this crisis, that's probably not the best for drop-in, and you would want to email us directly so we can kind of figure out, where should we escalate this to our director, something more complicated. But if it's, class planning, some students talk for 10 minutes, other students talk for 20 minutes, and that's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I also have one more question.
Yeah.
Real quick, you posted the links on to the Zoom rooms for all of the drop-ins. Do you think I can get that so I don't have to type the link like one by one?
Oh, yes, definitely. I will send the slides after this. The video will take a little bit longer. So what I could do today is just go ahead and send the slides so that you have everything today. And then I'll follow up. The video will probably be ready next week, or the recording of today.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I also have another question.
Sure.
So you were mentioning how to make appointments with any of you guys, or like the drop-in ones. But my question is that, so for the orientation that we're gonna have in July, I think we have to talk to an advisor. So that advisor should be from CS, and also what is the best timing to get the appointments with the advisor to talk before the orientation?
Are you talking about the college one?
Because like we have to get our classes in July 15, I guess. I'm not sure about the date. So I'm not sure, like for the advisor that we have to talk to, it's better to do the CS one And what is the best like timing to do that, to talk about the classes and yeah.
Yes, so, right, so you will start enrolling in classes on July 16th. So we're gonna go over right now in this presentation options for your first year. So we might just even answer questions and you'll know after today what you're gonna sign up for in the fall. If you're still unclear, then you have two different options. You can come to our virtual drop-in advising. And so I will send you the link and the information for that so you know when you can access that. Or you also should have received an email from me that had options to sign up for individual appointments with me. And there are still some available. So if you go back to that appointment, if you look for Lydia Raya, then you can schedule an appointment with me and we can look at your schedule.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I think I'm gonna keep moving so that we are on track. Okay, hopefully this was clear when you were admitted, but just in case it's not, it's a big change for our department that students are now admitted to computer science directly into the major. So you were admitted to computer science, as long as that's what it says on Cal Central, that's your major. So there's no process for you, additional steps for you to declare the major. What's confusing is some students admitted before you do have these extra steps. So you're getting, sometimes you'll get emails about now it's time to apply, prerequisites and things like that. You can ignore that because you are declared. So you can always refer to Cal Central as long as it says computer science on there. You can ignore anything to do with submitting a major application. And all you really need to worry about is you need to stay in good standing with your major in college. And basically what that means is be at a 2.0 GPA or higher. Okay, so I know we have both transfers from California community colleges and then other schools. So if you attended a California community college, all you need to do is look on assist.org. And as long as your class is listed as transferable, then there's nothing more you need to do to verify any coursework. You want to also look to see, is it fully transferable or partially? If it's partially, there'll be an extra note that says articulation subject to a completion of a university course. There's a little extra something under there. So some schools definitely have that, especially for like our data structures class. If you're unsure, I would go to assist.org, look at the report. Feel free to send us a screenshot if you're not sure. But you don't have to do any, you don't need to be sending us your syllabi to evaluate any coursework for you as long as it's from a California community college. UC transfers, on the other hand, or if we had somebody from University of Minnesota, right? So somebody from outside of California, we will have to get your classes evaluated. And I'm going to talk about that more in detail of how to send us your syllabi. And you can also just come in to drop in and we can go over it then as well. So again, this is only for non-California community college students. But how will you know if your classes count? For your math courses, we want you to send your syllabi directly to the math department. So here's the website for how to do that. And then once they evaluate your class, you can just forward us the email so we can see what the result was. For lower division computer science classes, CS 61A, B, or C, you can send me the syllabus, and then I work with the faculty to get it evaluated, and then I'll let you know what the next steps are. It's also helpful if you copy our advising alias on the email in case I'm on vacation or something. For CS 70, which is discrete math, we do not take transfer coursework for this class. So even if you took a discrete math class at your prior institution, you will need to take CS 70 here at Berkeley. That's just a faculty department policy. Okay, so now let's get on to class requirements. So lower division requirements, which are, they have course numbers 1 through 99. So I have the link listed here. And then there are upper division requirements, and those will have course numbers 100 through 199, and the website is here. But this is kind of what your upper division will look like. It's usually 6 classes, which is 24 units. And this is how they break down. So one of those classes needs to be what's called a design class. And on that link for upper division, you'll find which ones qualify. At least 2 of those 6 classes need to be in computer science because you have the major is in CS. But say you're interested also in electrical engineering, you can take electrical engineering classes and those will count as well. So for the next bullet, 2 classes need to be in CS or electrical engineering. That's okay too. And then finally, we have something called a non-computer science technical elective for 4 units. And this actually has to be outside of computer science. And we have a giant list of, linguistics, another engineering major, data science, lots of things qualify to count for this tech elective requirement. So it's fun to kind of see what, what direction you might go in for that. Oh, I did not realize this slide works like this. Okay, so this is a visual of what I just went over in that previous slide. So first, you're going to start with a broad lower division and the math. Probably most of you are done with because that's what you did at your prior institution. So a year of calculus, linear algebra, and there's a few ways you can have fulfilled that. And then we have the lower division CS classes, so 61 A, B, and C, and then CS 70, which is really another math class. It's discrete math. And then we get to the upper division. So a big difference here between how our major works with lower versus upper division is lower division, you can see it's specific classes that you have to take, and those classes are spelled out. When you get to the upper division, on the other hand, there are areas and you have to take 24 units, but you really get to decide how do you want to fulfill those units. Say you are super into AI and security and you want nothing to do with theory. Great, you don't have to take any theory. So you really get to kind of, we say choose your own adventure for once you get to the upper division, which is nice. But for some students, having a lot of options can then making decisions, choosing classes harder. So just come to advising and we can kind of talk about which, class might be good for you to start out in once you get to the upper division. Okay, so now let's kind of talk about your first semester in CS in general. So 12 units minimum are required in the College of CDSS. But it's also recommended. So we try to say start off with about 12 because the first semester is really an experiment. You might be used to taking a certain number of units in your prior institution, and you do know yourself as a student by now, but taking classes here it's going to be different. It's going to be a transition. So we would say, start off with about 12. And then for the next semester, if you say, oh, in the fall, I had so much extra time, then, add another course for the spring. So a generally recommended semester could look something like this. So a ACS course or maybe Stat 20, and I'll explain more on that, later. And then another computer science course. A third class would be American cultures or some other general education requirement. So that would get you to 12 units right there. And then you can think about, okay, do I want to add one more unit or so to do a seminar or a decal? And a decal, if anyone doesn't know, is a sort of like a seminar. It's taught by other students. So they have these on tons of different topics, like, how to solve a Rubik's Cube. And then there are ones actually related to CS or EE, but there's like, Harry Potter, there's tons of different topics. So it can kind of be a fun way to round out your schedule. The decal schedules are always very late. That you can't see them until probably August, though. So these are some tips from your peers that we've gathered over the years. So 61B and 70 are a busy combination together, but they're okay to take together. For transfer students, you don't have like a ton of options for spacing everything out. So it is a common combination we see transfer students take. What's not recommended, however, is to take 61C with 61B or 70. The classes just don't tend to work as well together. Try not to rush through these classes, like taking 61A, B, C all together in the same semester. Try to space them out, like at least over the first 2 semesters, even like a summer afterwards. And then finally, pay attention to prerequisites because they are listed for a reason. So you want to, what's, a difference I know from, I was an intern at a community college, and I know lots of classes are like, you cannot enroll in them unless you have a prerequisite cleared, or, like the system will not let you. It's not, it doesn't work quite as like that for CS here. We do have some classes that, the prerequisites are strictly enforced, but other classes are not. So it's really up to you to make sure that you are fulfilling the prerequisites that are listed. Okay, finally getting to the good stuff here. Let's go over some sample schedules for the first 2 semesters. So some tips before doing that. I have all of our enrollment policies here in case you need that or you're confused about why can't I get into something. You should be getting into your classes though, so let us know if you're not. As a transfer student, you want to make sure you're pairing classes as best as you can, because you do have a time limit. So we don't want you to take on too much in one semester. Let's figure out a different combination that might work a little bit better. Getting back to Stat 20. So that could be a option to take in your first semester with 61A. And that is because while Stat 20 is not required for CS, it does fulfill a prerequisite for Data 100. So if you've heard from Data 100, it's like the upper division Introduction to Data Science class. Those prerequisites are strictly enforced. So that could be a good way if you take 61A, Stat 20 in your first semester, then you would be ready to take Data 100 in the spring. So something to think about, but it's not required. Another way to kind of round out your schedule is by doing that non-CS tech elective. You can ask us or other students, like, what's a lighter tech elective that could pair well with, a heavier CS class. Those are helpful things to know. And again, a good way to kind of spread classes out would be taking a class, maybe 61C next summer. If you're not doing an internship, that could be a great way to get a class done. And I don't know if you're aware, but in CDSS, 5 semesters are guaranteed for transfers, which is great. So you don't have to do any extra jump through hoops to get this approved. It will be approved. You'll have to request it at some point, but it will be approved for you. Okay. One thing I wanted to point out is this is a college requirement that you have most likely not met, even if you've done IGETC. So there are still some non-computer science classes that you'll have to take here at Berkeley to finish your degree. So CDSS has a requirement called Human and Social Dynamics, and this class is not offered at community college. So if you're coming from a community college, you have not met this. The good thing, though, is these classes here, City Planning 101, Data C104, Digital Humanities 100, these will double count. So these classes will count as both a tech elective, which you need for us for computer science, and it'll fulfill this college requirement. So if you kind of want to double dip here, that's okay to do. Okay. So I'm going to go over several different sample plans here, and it kind of looks like a lot, but then after we do a few, you'll kind of realize they're all sort of variations of each other. And again, I'll be sending the slides. So this is the first one, and this is for a student who is coming to Berkeley with none of our 61A, B, C series articulated. Most students are starting out here. So if this is you, this is a very normal place to start. So in your first semester, you could think about CS 61A, and then there's that Stat 20 class as an example. An upper division American Cultures. American Cultures also is something that's not fulfilled by IGETC. So unless you went out of your way to make sure that you took this class, you probably didn't transfer with this class. In your CDSS info session like this, I'm sure they'll speak to your requirements. You have an upper division requirement that you need to meet, like a unit number. So ways to do that, that's why I'm saying specifically here, you have to take American Cultures, but don't do lower division. Upper division is going to help you get to that 36 upper division minimum that you need to graduate. So that's an example of what you could do. And then again, you could do a decal or a seminar if you wanted. So that could be in the fall. And then in the spring, that's when you could do 61B and 70 together. And then for your third class, that could be the tech elective for us, or maybe Data 100 because you took Stat 20 in the fall, or maybe that's when you want to take a CDSS requirement. So those, yeah, I think that's everything I want to say about that slide. Okay, so this next one, this is for a student who has a class that partially articulated to data structures, which is 61B. So in the first semester, it could look, oh, man, I went through all these slides and of course there's still a typo. Okay, so 61A, you could do CS 70 or Stat 20. 70 in your first semester is going to be a lot, but some students do it. This third place here is not supposed to say Data 8. So there we could just say, you know, the same thing as before, which was what, American Cultures? Yeah. So ignore Data 8. That can just be kind of a general education requirement. So I did make a note here of, you know, this is going to be considered a heavy first semester because of CS 70 there, but you don't have to take it there. In the spring, if you want to just complete the data structures portion of the class that you're missing, that would be, you would be doing that through a course called CS 47B. And that is a 1-unit bridge course, and we can give you permission to enroll in the class. We have codes that we give to students after we, you know, kind of verify what their transfer coursework is. So you can definitely consider just doing the bridge course, or if you wanted to take data structures over, that's an option too. One thing to consider is that if you are doing the bridge course, CS 47B, that's only worth 1 unit, and you have a minimum unit requirement of 12. So if you only do 1 unit, you'll have to make it up somewhere. So again, you know, you could do an upper division American Cultures somewhere, maybe your tech elective or Data 100 requirement. And then I put this kind of other elective here, 0 to 3 units, depending if, you know, you did the bridge class or not. Okay, so this is a second option if you had a partially articulated data structures course. And I think just the only difference here is I put Stat 20 in the fall and put CS 70 in the spring. Everything else is pretty much the same. Do we have any students joining today who this next sample would apply to? So you have a fully articulated data structures 61B class and a fully articulated 61C class. Okay, so this sample is for you. So in the fall, you could think about doing 61A, and again, there's Stat 20 there as an option. Your upper division American Cultures class, optional decal or seminar. And then in the spring, you could do CS 70, your non-computer science tech elective, and then maybe a CDSS elective or something else to help you reach that upper division unit. But I would recommend splitting 61A and 70 into 2 semesters because you have the time to do it. And I think you're going to be happier not rushing through those classes. Okay, and then is there anyone, I saw somebody from Laney, right? So probably somebody does have 61A completed.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so instead of starting out, you're welcome to retake 61A first of all, if you want to, but you don't have to because at Laney it is fully articulated. So you could just go right into 61B in the fall. And then in terms of other classes, so this is the first option for you. In terms of other classes, if you wanted to split 61B and 70 between 2 semesters, then maybe you take Stat 20 in the fall as well, Upper Division American Cultures. And then in the spring, you could take CS 70, and then you would take some other elective classes. So that's one option for those who have completed 61A. And then I think this is my last sample plan. The other option for students who have completed 61A is to put 61B and 70 together in the fall. And then the rest of the schedule is the same. And then for the spring is when you could take 61C and then some other elective classes. So again, they're pretty similar, just kind of switching around various things and all variations. So I think some people were asking questions along the way, and Carol and Javier were helping. Does anybody have any questions or want me to go back to a plan?
Yeah, so I have a question. Do you recommend retaking well, like CAS 61, CAS 61A, CAS 61B? Like if we have those 3, you recommend retaking them?
That's a really good question. So you certainly do not have to. I think what I would do is those classes are offered over the summer. So you can find our websites, or maybe Carol, Javier, if you don't mind putting the links for the summer websites so they can find the syllabi. What I would do is I would go through our course websites, and if you're super familiar with everything, I think that the homeworks are probably available. If you feel really comfortable with just like, no, I don't need to retake this class, we could also send a link for past exams. I'm going to really quickly put in HKN is, okay, there, put it in the chat. HKN or Eta Kappa Nu is our EECS Department Honors Society, and their website is really helpful. It has tutoring information, course reviews, of faculty and the class itself. They also have an exam archive. So maybe you want to go and check out past exams and see like, how would I have done if I just, if I took the exam right now with the knowledge that I have without having taken the actual class. I would start there.
Okay.
61B like is a really important class for internships. So it could be helpful to retake it, but you certainly do not have to.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, I have a question related to the American culture. So do we have to take the American Culture Center classes, even if we have the IGETIC, or no?
So American Cultures is not actually part of IGETC. So that's
okay,
why
I get it.
it's likely that you didn't complete it.
Mhm.
So yeah, in your CDSS info session, I'm sure they'll go over it more. But yes, you'll probably, almost all transfer students need to take an American Cultures class.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Excuse me, Lydia, I have a couple of questions actually. It's from the first couple of slides from this section. I've been reading a little bit on the website, and is it true that transfer students can do minors?
Yes, you can do a minor. Mhm.
Oh, can. Okay, perfect. I thought we couldn't. And my other question is, if at some point we realized that we really wanted to take things, an extra notch and try to pursue electrical engineering and computer science, is that a possibility or that's an absolute no?
Unfortunately, it's not possible to transfer into that major unless you apply directly to it, to the EECS major.
Is there a way to apply while you're in Berkeley as a computer science?
No.
No. Okay.
But if I go back
Yeah.
to here,
Mhm.
so we have design classes that are in electrical engineering. So
Okay.
you could fulfill your design class with an EE class.
Mhm.
And then this third bullet here, how it says 2 CS or EE classes. So you could just do EE here. And then your non-CS tech elective, that can also be an electrical engineering class. It's just, it can't be CS. So if
Okay.
your motivation for wanting to do the EECS major was to take more electrical engineering, you can actually achieve that with the CS major.
Okay. And my other two questions is, I know you said that 12 units for the first semester. Usually for us to have a range, do some transfer students finish in a year and a half? Is it usually just 2 years? What's the range that they usually take?
It's almost 50-50 students who do 4 semesters versus 5 semesters. It's a little heavier on the 4 semesters, 2 years, but the students who graduate in 2 years have almost certainly taken at least one of our classes prior to transferring. So they'll have maybe 61B and C or 61A and 61C, or they have, or they took a summer class, the summer right before they started in the fall. So they're coming in with a lot already done. That's how, I would say for the students who graduate in 2 years, that's how it's more possible.
Okay, and is it something that is common, the summer internships? Is it only during the summer that students can do internships? And if so, is that something that is facilitated by the school, or is it something that they should pursue by themselves?
So the majority of internships are going to happen during the summer because you're not in classes. We do have some students who do internships during the fall and the spring, but my experience with those students is they do very poor academically and it's quite stressful. So we would recommend not doing an internship at the same time as a fall spring semester. And so that, yeah, the majority is happening over the summer, and what's going to happen it very like early on in the fall semester. So you'll want to look for our announcements, is our department offers a internship fair. So we bring lots of companies to you and you come with your resume and you can have interviews right there on site. So that's going to happen at the very beginning of the semester. And then our department also holds interviews throughout the fall semester in our buildings, usually in Corey Hall. Fall is the heavy recruiting season for the following summer.
Okay, and
There's also,
yes, sorry, continue.
oh no, I'm just was gonna say there's more resources beyond our department that the Berkeley Career Engagement, the Career Center, they're going to speak to. They are coming at 11. So I think if you want to ask one more question, but I just want to make sure we get the rest of our slides before they
Yes,
join. Mhm.
it's just one more question and that's it. And I know this is probably for another 2 years, but is it true that there's this program about once you graduate, you can do for an extra year a master's in computer science?
Yes, and it's totally not too late to be asking that question. I'm
Okay.
glad that you are, because you're all entering as juniors already, so you should be thinking to grad school. The 5th year master's program, it's only open to computer science and EECS. Our program is only open to our majors, but we can certainly talk more about that and how to be a competitive applicant.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, I think we only have a few more slides, so I just want to make sure we get through them before Berkeley Career Engagement joins. So in terms of grading and repeat policies, all of your classes that are going towards a major or a minor need to be taken for a letter grade. So want to make that very clear. If you're taking it and it's for the major or a minor, needs to be taken for a letter grade. Students may want to repeat classes or need to repeat classes. So if you get a D+ or lower, you are able to repeat a class. If it's a C- or higher, however, you cannot repeat that class. If you did take a non-major requirement for pass, not pass, and you earned an NP, a not pass, you can repeat that class. If it was taken in a letter grade the first time around, if you got an F and then your second time around you get an A, that A is going to completely replace the F in your GPA on campus. Okay, yes. And so as a reminder, you're going to start enrolling into classes on July 16th. So just under a month away. You do have enrollment priority for our lower division CS classes, but you also want to enroll right at the start of your appointment time because our classes fill. So don't think that you can put it off. But if you run into trouble, then this is the email alias for our enrollment manager. So you can definitely reach out to her if you're waitlisted for a CS class and you're, confused as to why. And then if you are interested in electrical engineering and you end up being waitlisted for something, you can send our electrical engineering enrollment manager an email as well to figure it out. Okay, last slide, and then we still have a couple minutes for more questions. Just before the questions though, remember we are here to help you and we really want to hear from you. So here's my email address here, elraya@berkeley.edu. And again, you can reach all of us, the CS advisors at our advising alias. Come to virtual drop-in this summer and here are the hours again, or, or you can meet with me during those individual appointments that I sent out. So we have a few minutes for more questions if anybody else wants to ask.
So quick question.
Yeah.
I don't know which slide it was, but you showed something that said non-tech class, something like that.
Yeah, non-computer science tech. We
Non-computer
call it the
class.
tech elective
Yes.
for short.
Oh yeah, that one. Let's see. Yeah, that one. One non-CS tech elective. So for that one, can we take data C104 or those classes, introduction to urban data analytics, human context and ethnics of data? Those classes count, right?
Was it in sorry, I forget where my slide is.
This one, yeah.
This one.
This slide. Yes.
Yes.
Can we take
yes.
Okay, those count.
Yes, so data C104 or City Planning 101, Digital Humanities 100. This class will count in 2 different areas for you, which is helpful.
Okay, that's good. This is good to know. It's a good thing to take on my first semester, probably.
Yes, and I think I said it before, but I don't know if I really emphasized it. In many of the slides, I mentioned Stat 20, and that's a prerequisite for Data 100. Data 100 counts for the CS major. We just pretend it's a CS class. So that class would actually fulfill, in the second sub-bullet here where it says 2 CS classes. Data 100, it's actually called C100, and the C means it's cross-listed or it's, shared with computer science. So I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that because Stat 20 does not count for the CS major, but then it serves as the prerequisite for Data 100. Data 100 will count for the CS major.
Okay, and also helps for a minor in data science, probably, right?
Yeah, it is required for the data science minor, but you want to work really closely with data science if you're interested in that minor, because they do have specific requirements and stipulations about, overlapping too much with another major.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Yes, Lydia, sorry, one more question. I
Yeah.
know I asked a lot, but
That's okay.
regarding the fifth year master's program that we were talking about, is this something that we should be considering from the start of our junior year, trying to understand what classes we must take? And my other question related is the cost of the graduate program the same as a regular year for us undergrads, or does it change?
Yeah, so just by being a computer science major or an EECS major, you are qualified for the program. So you don't have specific classes you need to take to be eligible for the program. The major itself just makes you eligible. But what you do want to start getting involved with right away or as soon as you can is undergraduate research. Because another requirement of this program is that you have to have found your faculty advisor at the time of applying to the program. And that's one of the people who's going to write you a letter of recommendation for the program to get in. So the most common way students find their faculty advisor is by doing research with them while they're still an undergrad. And then, you know, they have a couple semesters and they say, I would really like to continue my work with you in a grad program. You know, would you be my advisor for the fifth year program? So if they say yes, then they're going to write them a letter of recommendation, of which students need 3. So it's more, you know, figuring out how to get involved in research. And that's definitely something we can talk more about during major advising. And then, I'm sorry, what was the second part of the question?
Oh, if the cost of the
Mm.
graduate program is the same as the undergrad, or is it higher?
I don't know. That's a good question. Probably would, if someone could link like to tuition information, like general on the website, that would be helpful. But it is self-funded. Our PhD program is a fully funded program, so you're not paying for the PhD program, but our master's programs are funded by students.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi everyone, good morning. Are you all able to see my screen okay? Great. Well, hi everyone, my name is Giselle Hoke. I'm one of the career counselors from Berkeley Career Engagement. I serve engineering, math, and physical sciences students, and I will pass it over to my wonderful colleague so that she could briefly introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Berkeley. It's great to be here and just be welcoming you and letting you know about our services. My name is Reve, and just like Giselle, I work with students in engineering and physical sciences. So yeah, we're happy to support you at every step of your way here with planning your career and even after you graduate. We work with alumni as well.
Thank you. Yeah, so Reve and I are briefly going to give an overview about our services, and then we will open it up to you afterwards to see if you have any questions. Okay. So our office is located across from MLK Student Union. So technically we are not on campus. We're on Bancroft. On 2440 Bancroft Way. Right now in the summer, we have in-person services as well as virtual Monday, Thursday, and Fridays. But during the academic year, we do have Monday through Friday services, in-person and virtual. Our hours are 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So just a brief snapshot of what we do. So students can meet with us in appointments to talk about your career needs. Also, we can discuss graduate school with you as well. Presentations we usually offer guidance workshops, and they're held in person and virtually. This would be located on a Handshake, which I'll briefly talk about in the next slide. We also have career fairs and alumni panels, and you can also see this on Handshake. if given that you all are CS majors, most of the students we work with are interested in technical roles, and a lot of the recruiting is done in the fall. There is a spring recruitment cycle as well for internships and jobs, but we've noticed that the peak time is in the fall. Employers also host info sessions about opportunities that they're offering. Later in the fall semester, we will have peer drop-ins in our office. It's usually Monday through Thursday in person and Friday virtually. So if you need a quick resume review or need help navigating Handshake, you can utilize our career peer advisors who are undergraduate students like yourselves. We also have a bunch of on-demand career resources, such as resume templates, interview practice platforms. There's also a lot of AI tools that we have now that can help you generate a resume and cover letter as well, or if you wanted to learn about a certain role. We do have interview rooms that you could book on Handshake if you need a quiet place to interview. We do have it in our second floor of our building. And lastly, we have a photo booth that takes professional photos. If you wanted a professional photo for your LinkedIn or professional website, we have that for free. And moving on to Handshake. So Handshake is kind of your online career system to schedule appointments with us, to look at all of the job and internship listings, and also to look up events that the college is hosting, such as career fairs, coffee chats, alumni panels. Also, there is a career newsletter that goes out from us. During the academic year, fall and spring, it goes out bi-weekly every Friday. I'm not sure if you have access to Handshake just yet. I'll double check on that to see if you are able to activate your Handshake account. And Ray, you could jump in. I'm forgetting what time of the summer they're able to access it, but yeah. So, and there's an Handshake app, but there's also, you could use your desktop computer as well to access Handshake. And discussing the recruitment timeline here. So I know I mentioned fall is the peak time for tech recruiting. And a lot of the events you'll notice are tailored to the tech industry in the fall. But there's spring recruiting as well, such as smaller companies or startups will do their recruitment in the spring. And this leads to a summer internship or job. Most times the internships are in the summer, given that internships are full-time. So that would be kind of difficult to do if you're taking, multiple classes during a semester. And now I will pass it over to my colleague Reve to continue about the conversation about searching for jobs, internships, and work study.
Hey everyone, I just checked, Giselle, and you all will have access to Handshake on July 1st, as long as all fees are paid. So definitely get in there early and start looking for summer internship opportunities. So I know this might be different, right, from your prior school, but employers recruit really early for summer internships. So you want to hit the ground running in the fall. But if for whatever reason it doesn't work out, don't worry. There's a lot more that get posted in the spring as well. Like Giselle shared, it's at the beginning of each semester. So we want to encourage you guys to get your feet wet in the fall, but use it as kind of a way to explore what's out there, learn, start developing your resume, your interviewing skills. You don't have to definitely secure something, but you want to get started in the fall. And we also get a lot of questions from transfer students around do employers want to see my community college on my resume? The answer is yes. Employers definitely value your community college education. Transferring is a hustle. You know, not only the application process, but getting to a new university like Berkeley and navigating all of that, employers understand it takes persistence. So definitely add your community college to your resume. So once you get into Handshake, you'll be able to search for jobs and internships just like you see here. And we can walk you through this right once you get in there. But you'll be able to look based on different filters or kind of save jobs, get job alerts so they come directly to your email. But we can go to the next slide, Giselle. And then we've got a lot of events, like Giselle mentioned, in the fall. So you'll get a link to this and you'll be able to explore our career and internship fairs. We're going to have a tech job and internship boot camp this fall, where we're going to have workshops on resumes. We'll have an informal, casual networking event with employers and alumni. We're going to be helping you guys with interview prep workshops, and we'll have some stuff on AI insights, like how do you use generative AI to support you in your job search and to use it appropriately. So check out our events in Handshake. Everything's going to be there. It'll be pretty user-friendly once you get in there on July 1st. But of course, we're always here to help you. All right, next slide. We've also got a ton of career exploration resources. So I put a link in the chat here to our on-demand resources. They're all there. So if you're not sure what you want to do with your CS degree, we've got lots of places that you can get started right online, even before you can get into Handshake. And then, of course, chat with us. Let us know what you're thinking. Our counseling appointments are for anything and everything career related. So if you're not sure what you want to do with your degree, or if you're not even sure what you can get out of an appointment, just come see us anyway. We can help you like plan out your steps before you graduate, help you get connected to project experience on campus, off campus. So yeah, come see us. All right, next slide. So yep, like Giselle said, you can come for lots of different reasons. We could do mock interviews. We can help you with offer negotiation once you get to that point where you're looking for a full-time job, anything and everything. And next slide. And then we're also on social media. So we've got a huge library on YouTube. A lot of workshops are posted there. Panel discussions are recorded. So often students will even get started there when looking for advice. Definitely follow us on Instagram and TikTok. We've got a lot of short sound bites to help you with like resumes and different things like that. All right, we've probably used up our time now. So let's see if there's any questions about Berkeley career engagement.
Sure. Hi. How easy it is to land on an internship, or how hard it is?
Yeah. Oh, did you want to go, Hervé?
Go for it, Giselle.
Okay. So I do think that students are having to use several different strategies to land an internship. Something that I kind of noticed within the last academic year, it's more than just putting in applications, right? It's also attending events, networking, kind of putting yourself out there with employers or alumni and things of that nature. So I do think also too, it's about timing. So the earlier you start, the better. If you are interested in a technical role, I don't want to say this number to scare you or anything, but I want it to be very transparent. Students who are getting interviews, they are putting like 100+ applications in to get interviews that I've noticed, but that it's also in combination with attending career fairs and other events. So yes, I know that was a long answer to that question.
But that was great. And what are usually some of the big companies that are part of the fairs?
Yeah, so there's definitely a mix of different companies. There's companies such as, like, I'm trying to remember from the last few fairs, Epic, there's also Tesla, Bill.com, and sorry, I have a little bit of a cough. When the career fairs are posted on Handshake, you will see a list of those employers as well as who's attending, so that you can kind of research more about the company as well. But yeah, there's a mix of big companies as well as smaller companies. It just depends on the semester.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Lydia, for the list there.
A quick question. So what other websites can we use to search for internships?
So in addition to Handshake, I would recommend LinkedIn when we survey employees. Handshake is the #1 platform for university recruiting. So that's primary place to go for internships and new grad roles. But second to that, they use LinkedIn. So I would definitely recommend LinkedIn or any other job board, really. Indeed, Google Jobs. Employers tend to post the same position on multiple platforms. So it doesn't really matter where you apply. It's going to get to the same place. But there's also some websites for startups specifically, like Berkeley has a startup community, and here's a link to their job board. It's called Skydeck.
All right, thank you.
Sorry, I'm looking at the website that you guys sent over the chat, the employer spotlights. What's the difference between the platinum partners, gold partners, and blue partners and silver partners? Yeah, all the different. Is it their level of involvement? How many employees they take?
It is their level of involvement and also how much they kind of donate or sponsor to Berkeley Career Engagement. So to be part of these programs, and there's a lot of partnership programs that individual academic departments have as well. So this isn't the only one on campus, but employers pay to be a part of this program. So they're very dedicated to hiring and recruiting Berkeley students.
Got it. Thank you. Sorry, and one more other thing, since we're here. What are the best things on top of, of course, the regular like networking, putting myself out there? What is the best thing that I can do to make myself a competitive candidate for these jobs?
So I would say tailoring your resume and application materials. So as Giselle mentioned, a piece of this is a numbers game because we have, unfortunately seen a drop in software engineering opportunities and data analytics opportunities because of the tech industry right now. However, that doesn't mean, other industries, other fields or sectors aren't recruiting for those roles. So definitely expand your search to different industries right now, like healthcare, education, government. But tailoring your documents helps so much. If you can show you have the specific skills that company is looking for, not only technical skills, but also people skills. Like some companies really value leadership experience. So you want to make sure you highlight that in your resume when applying to that specific role. I think a big mistake that a lot of students make is they'll send the exact same resume to hundreds of places. You actually want to take time to tailor it to the specific job opportunities to be more likely to get a response. That can take a little more time and energy, of course, so you can kind of strategize what is best for you with maybe prioritizing, really tailoring your resume to like your top companies or top positions. And then you could also maybe do a little mass applying as well. But we can help you with a strategy on that.
Why do you think there's a drop in software engineering jobs in the tech industry? Is this because of AI and how it has automated a lot of the jobs? Or yeah, what do you think that is?
So what we saw, and this is data that we get from Handshake, is after 2020, after the pandemic, there was a spike in hiring. We saw a significant increase in software engineering and data analytics jobs. But I think what happened is a lot of companies in the tech space overhired to the point where they couldn't sustain that level of employees. So we saw in fall 2022, a lot of layoffs, a lot of postponed, canceled positions, even though they initially put out more than they did pre-pandemic levels. But then just in this last year, so from fall 2022 to fall 2023 recruitment seasons, we saw a 19% drop in these opportunities through Handshake. So I think companies are just kind of course correcting right now, but they do anticipate hiring more this fall. So while I don't think we're going to see like a huge increase, there should be more than there were in fall 23. But yeah, I think a lot of it came down to just budget issues. But it depends on the company, right? And also, yeah, what was going on in terms of maybe automating jobs.
Is the same thing happening with the cybersecurity field?
That's a good question. I would have to dig into that a little more, I think, to answer your question.
Okay. Yeah, I know they're very specific questions.
Problem. We
Thank you.
have data I could look at, so I'd be happy to email you.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
I'll put my email in the chat for anyone who would like to reach out.
Answer the question in the chat. Yes, we are available during the summer. If you want in-person services, Monday and Thursday is when we're in office. But if you wanted to do a video appointment, we're available Monday through Friday, with the exception of holidays. You're welcome.
We have just a few more minutes. Does anyone have any career-related questions or just CS-related questions for the department advisors? I really appreciate all of the questions. This is exactly what we were hoping for, or I'll speak for myself. This is what I was hoping for. So thanks for all of your great questions. And thank you so much, Reve and Giselle, for being here. This is great.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. It was great to meet you all, and I hope to see you all at Berkeley Career Engagement sometime.
Yeah, thank you for having us and welcome to Cal. Very excited for you all.
Thank you guys for your time and answering all the questions and goodwill. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for the help and, you know, for your time.
Of course, anytime.
Oh, I see a question about when is the career fairs? Oh, give me one moment. Um, I'll drop this in the chat. I know you don't have access to Handshake just yet. But to show you here on the calendar, um, so starting in August 28th, we do have our first career fair, but it's more focused on consulting. But then in September, as you can see here, there's an EECS full-time job fair, internship fair, and then a STEM Day 1, STEM Day 2. There's a business and public service fair, if that's what you're interested in, in that industry, a virtual fair, and the last fair of fall is this fair here. But I think for CS students, you might be interested in the EECS STEM Day 1, STEM Day 2, and perhaps the virtual fair.
And just to clarify, our department is called EECS. We also have a major called EECS and then a different major called computer science. But whenever you see events that say EECS, that's talking about the department. So EECS events are open to EECS and computer science majors. So, this EECS internship fair is for you as computer science students. Just want to make sure everyone knows that.
Yeah, thanks so much for clarifying. So any student can attend any event at Berkeley Career Engagement. Doesn't matter what your major is.
I have one question related to the Cal One card. When we are able to get that?
I do not know the answer to that question. Does anyone here know?
I don't have an exact date, but I know you'll get your Cal One card when you come to campus, the physical card that you pick up. Typically, students pick that up at just around orientation time.
Oh yeah, isn't it part of Golden Bear orientation maybe?
Yeah, some students may be able to pick it up a little bit early, depending on if you're a student athlete or whatever your scenario is. But usually it's at orientation.
Thank you.
I put the Cal One website in the chat, but so yeah, maybe you can pick it up earlier. But yes, that sounds familiar, Chris.
Oh, actually, I had one last question. It's regarding sports. It might have nothing to do with it, but is getting engaged in sports at Berkeley something that you guys see beneficial in terms of career later on?
So yes, it definitely can be. Even if you're not going for a sports career, you would definitely gain transferable skills. So skills like communication, collaboration, teamwork, maybe even leadership that you could then translate into a role, whether it's non-technical or technical.
No, of course, in terms of professional experience per se, it is not necessarily going to. I know it's more a life thing. My question was more regarding, do certain employers actually value that kind of thing, or they don't really care?
So it definitely depends on the employer. A lot of employers are mainly concerned with your relevant technical skills for roles like software engineering or data analytics or related. But it wouldn't hurt your application. It would help in that you would get those transferable skills. But if you're weighing, do I participate in this over something that's more technical, you probably want to focus on something more technical.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question for the career engagement team.
Okay, great, thanks.
So as far as the career fairs go, do you guys have any advice on how to prepare for it? As in, like what to wear or what to bring?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question. Yeah, we could definitely help you with what to wear. Usually, smart casual, or business casual is usually advised. We can also help you prepare something called an elevator pitch, which is an introductory statement about yourself when you start that conversation with the recruiter. We also advise students as well to do a little research about the company ahead of time, and we will have a more finalized employer list on Handshake. But yeah, we could definitely help you with all of those topics.
Okay.
I just put a link to career fair tips for students in the chat.
Thanks, Rebe.
Juan, I see your question in the chat for admissions. I would just follow up with them and just let them know that the transcript's on the way.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm a little worried about the the deadline.
Yeah, I could just keep in touch with them.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Sure. Well, we're at time now, so thank you so much for everyone, for students, for Reve and Giselle, Chris and Andrea, and Carol and Javier for all joining. We had wonderful questions today, and sorry we had to talk, or I had to talk so fast, but because we really did use all the time. So I really hope that you got a lot out of it. Let me, for one more minute, I'll share my screen just so you have our contact info. But then, yeah, so please reach out to us if you have questions, and we can't wait to meet you. So thank you.